Sometimes death isn't the end. Sometimes it's just the beginning. Have you ever received a phone call from someone who's already dead? No urban legends, no creepypasta. This story actually happened. It took place in 2008 in California to a man named Charles Peck. Charles Peck, 49 years old, worked for Delta Airlines. He lived in Salt Lake City, Utah. That day, he boarded a train to Los Angeles to meet his fiancée, Andrea Katz. He was planning to move closer to her, find a new job, and propose. It was supposed to be the happiest day of his life. But something went terribly wrong. On September 12th, 2008, Charles was a passenger on Metrolink train 111. It was a typical commuter route, nothing unusual. At 4:22 p.m., the train ran a red light and collided head-on with a Union Pacific freight train. The crash was devastating. 25 people died. More than 130 were injured. It was one of the worst rail disasters in California's history.
Yes, train versus another train. People are bleeding and hurt here.
In the hours that followed, no one knew where Charles was. He wasn't answering his phone. There was no confirmation he had survived. But then, his phone started calling people. His fiancée, his son, his brother, his sister, his parents. They answered with hope. Each time, only silence, no voice, sometimes faint static, sometimes breathing. They believed he was alive, trapped, somewhere under the wreckage, trying to reach them. The calls gave them hope, and they begged rescue teams to keep searching.
Officials with the Metrolink train say the 25 passengers died when the engineer ran a red signal and plowed head-on into a southbound freight train. Norma Gomez Haverstock survived the crash. She rode the same train home from work with the same people every day for 12 years.
It was the height of rush hour Friday afternoon when a commuter train and freight train collided. The force derailed train cars and scattered passengers. KCBS TV in Los Angeles is reporting that the passenger train engineer who died in the accident may have sent a text message to a friend 1 minute prior to the crash.
A red light, just like you'd find on a roadway, is a way for trains on the same track to take turns. You can see in this animation, had the Metrolink train stopped at the red light, the freight train would have been able to pass, and then the Metrolink train could have continued, but the engineer did not stop. When asked to confirm reports the engineer may have been text messaging at the time, Metrolink said that would be beyond belief. 3 crew members on the Union Pacific train survived. Only the conductor survived the Metrolink. The engineer in the front of the locomotive did not. And now Metrolink hopes the community will not lose faith in the integrity of its system.
12 hours after the crash, they found Charles, but he hadn't been calling because Charles died instantly. The coroner confirmed it. He never had the chance to reach for his phone, and when they recovered his cell, it was completely destroyed, shattered, unusable. Still, the calls happened. They were logged by mobile providers. They reached his family's phones. They were real. The last call came just 1 hour before his body was found. How do we explain it? Some say it was a glitch, a delayed signal, reflected calls bouncing between cell towers. But why did they go only to family members? Why no one else? And how did the phone continue calling long after being irreparably damaged? Others believe Charles was reaching out from beyond, trapped in the liminal space between life and death, trying to say goodbye, trying to let them know, I'm still here. After Charles was found, the calls stopped. But those 11 hours remain etched into his family's memory. Every ring, every moment of static, every breath they thought they heard. Phone calls from someone who had already died. A man who couldn't possibly dial, and yet he did. Charles Peck died at 4:22 p.m. His last call was made near 3 a.m., almost 11 hours after his death. Some say the dead don't speak, but maybe they call. Mystery, glitch in the system, or something beyond our understanding? One thing is certain. Sometimes the dead don't rest quietly. Sometimes they still have something to say.